I'm Tom.
And I'm Zeus.
And we're from Shout It Out Loudcast.
And this is Gene Simmons from Kiss.
And this is Ace Frehley. And when we want to listen to anything about football, music, Kiss, wrestling, country music, and more, we go to On the Flythe.
With Stevie Flythe and Jason Worden. Check them out. Oh, yeah.
You are listening to On the Fly.
What's up, guys? We are back after a week off. We had
2 weeks of hell.
Warden was on the DL for 2 weeks, so but yeah, he's recovered now. No, we missed Warden. We did, believe it or not, we missed Warden. But
the hair hasn't grown back, but the voice is coming back.
His taste in clothing is suffered as well. You look at that; it's amazing. He's a Cowboys fan, and he's going to pull for a Manning.
Yeah, that's pretty tough, man. But hey, man, I mean, God, Eli owned us, man, so bad. But I always liked Peyton. Peyton was always cool. But man, I'm excited about Texas. I mean, I'm actually going to the UTSA game. UTSA is a local affiliate here in San Antonio, which is funny because it's only 45 minutes away. But I went to UTSA, but they didn't have a football team there, so I've always been for Texas. But man, how bad is it going to be if UTSA pulls off the upset? And UTSA is not a bad team. They got a couple players in the pros, and I mean, anything can happen, especially the way UT's been playing the last few years.
That's true. You never know, but that's
UTSA. They upset Baylor. I went to a game a couple years ago, and Baylor was pretty good. They upset Baylor. So, I mean, it's football. Like they say, any given Sunday or Saturday. I mean, anything can happen.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll see. And guess what? Football season is right around the corner.
Yeah, 2 months. I'll be at that game.
Actually, I'll tell you this. We've started, of course, if people don't know, I coach at a private school. My school I went to, a small school over here. I'm a volunteer coach over here. And we started our voluntary workouts in June. And in less than a month, we will have our first game. So, yeah, it's getting in the short rows now. But
can't turn my light off; it won't shut off. There he goes. The glare of my head's too.
Yeah, I'm going to say, woo, jeez.
But it's Stevie and Casper.
We'll sing that song, "Remember Me This Way." You remember that? You remember that movie?
No, what movie is that?
Oh, jeez. It's Casper. Well, you just said. Steve,
yeah, but you had kids when that came out, dude. I didn't really have kids, so
Christina Ricci was in it.
I remember the Casper when it was like on a cartoon.
Yeah, well, I remember that too.
And like you look at Casper and Richie Rich, they're the same.
They are the same. Yes, yeah. They're the very same. That somebody got lazy and said the artist got lazy. And said, "Hey, we'll just make a ghost out of Richie Rich, and I'll have another show."
No, I kind of tuned out when the early 2000s when they had those kids movies, and that's not my thing, man.
Greetings from the swamp, and I'm assuming we've got some comments coming in already. It's got to be Chris Odom. What's up, buddy? That's the Chris and his son Quentin, and I can't tell. It just says Facebook user up here if it's Chris or Quentin, but father and son that do a podcast.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I've been on that podcast before. Chris.
What do they talk about?
They talk about sports. It's a sports podcast. They talk about some local stuff, and they're big into high school football, and they're NC State fans. So, yep, it's Chris.
Yeah, that's one thing that Texas and Louisiana shares a love for high school football, man. It's huge down here, man. I mean, I work for a school district. It's like the they always look at the stadiums and stuff. I mean, they're always big down here. I don't know about Louisiana, but we do love our football.
Yeah. North Carolina, it's not as big as Texas by any means, but it's still a big
It's
love.
more basketball in it with the.
Well, high school, there's still a big love for high school football, but we're not to the level of Texas by any means. But
I took
anyway.
your advice and I watched that Showtime about the Lakers.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I mean I'm a Spurs fan, and of course living in San Antonio, but there was a time before I became a Michael Jordan fan, is because I remember the Lakers were always playing the Pistons, and I couldn't stand the Pistons, so I liked Magic, and I liked Kareem, of course from Airplane, Roger.
No, that's Roger Murdoch.
Yeah,
that's not Kareem.
Yeah, it's
Roger Murdoch.
But I've always had a kind of a soft spot for Magic Johnson and the Lakers. And, I mean, it's kind of weird being a Spurs fan, being a St. Louis Cardinal fans because of Dodgers, but I always liked Magic. And it was really cool to see them, how Jerry Buss, of course,
what about Jerry West?
Jerry West. Yeah, he was saying, he was pissed off because he won an MVP, but he lost the title. I mean, how much more? That guy got the logo named after him, man. I mean, he's the logo.
I mean, he was obsessive. If all that is true, that guy was freaking cuckoo. And Jerry West in real life has threatened to sue that
over what?
Saying it was not true. And I think Magic came out and said he didn't. A lot of them were true, but.
I don't know, man. I think he got Magic down, man. I mean,
at the start,
Magic had a very active outside.
Yes,
I mean,
very active.
Even banging his girlfriend's best friend when she didn't show up,
and
like, dude. I mean,
okay.
I mean, it's like, it's like, but you didn't show up. Well, that's no excuse.
Yeah. Guess what? I can't control myself. If you didn't show up, I can't control myself. I'm not responsible for what happened. Whatever. But I thought it was great. Winning Time. Great. That was the name of Winning Time.
Season 2 coming out and looks pretty good. And they're going to talk probably more about the Bird rivalry, which is pretty cool.
Oh yeah, the guy that played Larry Bird was hilarious.
Yeah.
That guy was hilarious.
Well, I thought it was pretty cool there at the end where his buddies were kind of doing the racial thing, and Larry Bird was like, "Well, he's there, ain't he?" I mean, Larry Bird stuck up for him, and it's like that was, you talk about a rivalry,
Oh yeah, that was, look, back when I started really getting into basketball, NBA basketball, you didn't see the playoffs. It was on tape delay, unless you had cable. We didn't have cable, but I was not a Lakers fan. I was a 76ers fan because of Dr. J. And, the year they swept the Lakers, I think it was 83 in the championship. They swept them because they got Moses Malone, and freaking Moses Malone dominated Kareem. But yeah, and then over the years, once Jordan got in, I became a Bulls fan. I didn't mind the Lakers so much, and I actually pulled for them against the Celtics. But and I'll probably get chastised by a few people up here for that. But anyway, but yeah, great show.
Really highly recommended.
Great
really good
job.
Show.
Yeah, John C. Reilly does a great job as Jerry Buss. I don't think he does a bad job on anything that I've seen so far. But yeah, it's pretty awesome.
I think he's a Bulls. He's a Bulls fan. I know he's a White Sox fan, or I don't know. He's a White Sox fan. I saw a profile of him. He's from Chicago, but he's a Sox fan.
So yeah, I was really impressed with it. That was something I look forward to every week when that came out. But yeah, definitely check out Winning Time if you got it.
I had a lot of downtime, so I watched all that. It was great.
What? You're supposed to be doing your homework for this podcast.
Well, I had 2 weeks off because I was pay you all that money
injury. For nothing.
Yeah, you got that first part right. You don't pay me. Yeah, that's the first part.
I told you, we're actually talking about it. It was funny. We had a conversation today because we're gonna be on double duty this week. Saturday night, we're gonna be joined from down under, and I'm not talking about the sheets. I'm talking about down under in Australia. One of our good friends. We're gonna be doing another wrestling episode of top 10 tag teams of all time with none other than the legendary Jack Pinocchio, and I don't have the music here. So. We'll have to improvise, but
So from Australia. So I know one team that's going to be on his list. It's going to be on mine too, but we won't. That's a little teaser.
Australia.
Ah, you don't know that one, brother? Man,
Australia. I can't think of an Australian tag team.
Were they Australian?
You got me curious now.
Were they Australian? I thought they were Australian. I don't know. Depends on what territory they were in, I guess.
They could have been. You talking about the amazing French Canadians, aren't you?
The Pan Am connection, or what was that?
Pan Am connection.
Pan Am.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question about this. You sprang this on me.
Yeah.
Okay, tag teams. So, like, it's not going to be like a one-off, right? Like the Rock and Sock connection. It's going to be established tag teams.
It's whoever you want to, really, but all of mine are going to be established tag teams.
Okay.
You know, the guys that have been together, and you're not just like you throw in Steve Austin and Shawn Michaels for one night. You know, no, that's not going to work.
But you said anything you wanted, though, man. If that means a lot to you, man,
doesn't make it. That's up to you. But
that would be a great tag team because they're both Texans.
They did tag up. I mean, they did.
They won the titles too. They won like the. They won it. They didn't. They win
Well, they beat Bulldog and Owen, I think. But they and then like Diesel and Shawn Michaels, the dudes with attitudes. That's no. I'm not going.
Hey, have you heard Kevin Nash's new podcast?
Yeah,
it's really good.
If you guys, like I said, we do a lot of podcast recommendations. Was it Clicking It?
Yeah.
Kevin Nash's new podcast. If you listen to the first one, man, that was pretty powerful stuff when he was talking about Scott Hall's death, and the fact that they were getting ready to pull the plug on him, and all the Click members were on the phone, on speakerphone with him, because Kevin Nash couldn't get it. And, Kevin Nash couldn't get a plane out in time to go see him. He wanted to be there, but he couldn't get a plane ticket to go because all the flights were getting canceled, I guess, or whatever. But, yeah, pretty powerful stuff. But that's a good one. I'll tell you what I've really been listening to here lately, too. Mick Foley does a great job with his podcast, Foley is Pod. And I know we're talking about a lot of wrestling here. We're going to ramble on for a little while before we get to the main event. But, that –
No pun intended.
No pun intended. But, that was – Foley's done a really good job with his. That's been one of them, right there with Shout Out Loudcast, what I look forward to every week.
Speaking kind of about wrestling, I know we kind of talked about this. There was an Eric episode, Jericho. I listen to his all the time.
Yeah.
He was talking about how he had these blood clots. Like he was in on tour with Fozzy. Dude, almost. I mean, and you see what he does in the ring, like what he did last night. I mean, I didn't see it, but I mean, just what he went through back in, say, December, where he couldn't fly.
Yeah.
With those blood clots. I mean, if it's a couple of weeks ago, I don't know what the day it was, but if you get a chance, listen to that. I mean, it kind of people, wrestling's fake, but man, those guys are still athletes. They still go through crap like that.
Still have stuff you go through. I mean, if they wouldn't, if that was the case, it was so easy, everybody would be doing it.
It was a good show too, because it was just him. He didn't have any guests and he was just telling you the story.
Right.
Dude almost died, man. I mean,
anytime you get something like that's you're at a big risk,
especially in a foreign country and stuff. Oof.
Right. And I will have to say, I can't blame all the absence on Warden, because I was actually kind of relieved when he said last week, "Oh, well, we'll just do it this," because I'm telling you, at work, man, it's been killer. We've had people out and shorthanded, so it's been just crazy. And vacation starts next week, hopefully. Knock on wood.
You going anywhere
Sunday? But
are you going to be leaving North Carolina there and going somewhere else?
We'll see. It's kind of in the planning stage. We'll see. I don't know for sure yet. The main event tonight. I mean, we're going to talk a little bit more, ramble on about some other crap before we get to the main event. The main event tonight is top 10 Motley Crue songs, and we've already done our Motley Crue bracket before. And if you didn't listen to that episode, then you need to go back and listen to it. But tonight we'll be comparing our top 10 lists like we always do. Motley Crue on tour right now, of course, a big stadium tour. My nephew actually got to go see it. He's a diehard Motley Crue fan. And he was really close. I wish I had the videos that I could share with you. I've got a comment coming in from my daughter. Just said leaving North Carolina. So I said, well, we don't know yet. We don't know if we'll do it. And Robert Matthews, I have to throw out a shout out to him. He's always here. He comes in every time we're live. He's a Texas A&M fan though, so he always gives you a hard time about that. But Robert, we have to throw this out to Robert tomorrow night. This is how good of a husband Robert is. Now, Robert, I'm not going to hold it against him. He's a Rush fan, but
I'm not saying anything about A&M, but you go there with Rush.
I caught the devil from him and his son last time when we talked about Rush, when we said some comments about Rush. Anyway, this is how good of a husband he is. He bought tickets to it's going to be in Raleigh tomorrow night. Here's the lineup: In Vogue, Salt and Pepper, Rick Astley, and the headliner, the New Kids on the Block. So yeah, go Robert, go Robert.
Why aren't you taking your wife, Stevie? She don't want to go? You don't ask her? I mean, I think you can love that.
Yeah, tickets are sold out already.
Oh, there's always a way, Stevie, if you want to go bad enough.
No. I wouldn't, there was, granted, I was like every teenage kid when New Kids come along. I was like, teenage boy, what the heck? But you know what? I didn't mind their ballads. I'm a sucker for a ballad, like I said. I didn't mind some of their ballads. They were pretty cool. But
yeah, they were. I mean, I never hated them. I mean, they had some good songs. Like that was that song "Tonight," la 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 la. It was like one of their last songs.
Boy, can you do you want to do the choreography too?
Yeah.
Step by step.
And what's his name turned out okay on Blue Bloods?
Donnie, yes. It's hard. Every time I look at that, I'm like,
and he was a bad kid. Remember that? He's the one always got in trouble and stuff because he wanted to get his cred going.
Set fire to his hotel room and all that good stuff. But yeah. Anyway, we have to throw a shout out to Robert because he's one of our biggest fans. He's a big fan of the podcast, and
Robert, hook 'em horns, but hey, it's all good. Nothing wrong with liking Rush. A&M, man, I was kidding. It's all good, brother.
Rush is okay. I'm all right with Rush. I'm not a fan of Rush, but it's okay. It's all right. I'm not a fan of a lot of things that people are. That's what
you probably don't like. You probably don't like A&M because you don't like Tech. You seem not like anything Texas, so you don't seem to be a real big fan about Texas.
I mean, I don't have any reason.
You rag on the Cowboys. You rag on the Longhorns. I mean, I'm not over there ragging on.
Just think if you were a Ravens fan. I mean, I don't pull. Well, I do pull for stuff in Baltimore. I pull for the Orioles, unfortunately. But the Orioles are on a hot streak right now, bud. They're looking pretty good. I got to give credit where credit's
due. They win one in a row or what?
No, they actually won like 10 in a row.
Oh, I know. I can't say nothing because they pretty much beat 2 out of 3 of my Cardinals.
The
Cardinals have been like one game and they'll lose 2. So it's like, oh, yeah, that's progress.
They're close to playing 500. I feel like Lou Brown's the coach and they're playing for Lou.
So, but they're still like 25. They're still like 25 behind like the Yankees, right? Or something like
good gosh. Everybody's like 25 behind the Yankees.
Astros are beating up on them.
Well, they're stealing signs anyway.
I'm a Cardinal fan. I don't really care for the Astros. I don't care for them.
But anyway, before we get into the Motley Crue stuff, Warden, before he set out for 2 weeks, on the DL, actually got to go to a concert. Went to see Rod Stewart and Cheap Trick. All right,
yes.
Fill us in. Let's get a recap. How was? I mean, did you tell Rod Stewart that one of our biggest episodes was our top 10 list with you? I mean,
yeah. And then I lectured him. I lectured him for not doing my top song on there.
You didn't hold up the sign.
It was the second day of July. It was in Texas and it was outside. So that's how hot it was. Cheap Trick came out. I've seen Cheap Trick. I think saw them one other time. They opened up for Motley Crue back on the, I think it's the Generation Swine album when Vince came back.
That's
they were good. They were really good. They did more of a They did more of a set list. That they did the Flame, which I hear they don't like to do, which I love. They did the 70s show, but man, and they had the
Hanging out.
I think the singer's son is playing with them now. He did a song. They did but Cheap Trick's always good. Yeah. And they just kick butt. I mean, like I said, it was an older crowd, but they played their hits. Rod Stewart, this is my 5th time seeing him. This is one of the best times I saw him. I saw him in Vegas about 3 or 4, maybe about 5, 6 years ago. And it was kind of like there was really no energy to it. So I guess having COVID and being off for the last couple of years gave him energy. But Rod Stewart does something that I wish maybe Kiss should do, maybe Motley Crue. Well, I think Motley Crue kind of does it, having a female backup singers.
Oh, yeah, they got 2 of them.
But what Rod Stewart does, and of course he's 77, is that he has these great singers. They're beautiful girls, great band, but he has them do their own song. They did Call Me by Blondie.
Oh,
and then later on, and he's not on stage, so he takes a break. And then they did Hot Stuff by Donna Summer. And he opened up with Addicted to Love, which is cool because the girls came out dressed like Robert Palmer in the video.
Yeah.
And I posted some on my Facebook page, but he did a lot of stuff. He did a kind of acoustic set. And he did, like I said, I've seen him like 5 times the last 30 years. He did a song he hadn't done in a while, Killing a Georgie. Which,
really?
Yeah, he did that one, part 1 and part 2. And I was like, that's cool to hear. But of course, he's got so many songs. He didn't do he didn't do what he didn't do. He didn't do Downtown Train. He didn't do some of them, but he did Stay With Me. He did Hot Legs. I mean, he did a lot of good songs, but he's got so many. It's like, oh, he didn't do this, this, and this. But he actually did a highlight of the night for me was when he did a song called Rhythm of My Heart, which is off. It was in my top 10, but he dedicated to Ukraine and the people over there fighting and stuff. I thought that was really cool because it takes balls to do that because you got so many sides, especially.
Oh yeah,
divided as we are. But it's good to see that he was still, what was important. Those people were fighting for their. I mean, I don't get political on here, but I'm with him on there because I wouldn't want nobody invading my country. So, especially
I mean, whether you're whatever side you take, like you said, it could very easily happen over here, and you don't want anybody invading your country,
especially if you're a recognized nation. I mean, I won't get like I said, I don't get political, but I mean, and you can have your beliefs or whatever, but
that's right.
I thought it was really cool. I mean, he wasn't telling you who to vote for. He wasn't telling you the president sucks. He didn't tell you this. I mean, he was just he was just doing his thing.
That's not something you want to hear about when you go to a concert. You want to enjoy yourself and get away from all that crap.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Speaking of saying the president sucks, my wife and my daughter actually went to a concert week before last. Dixie Chicks or Chicks, whatever you want to call them. Yeah.
The Chicks.
And I'll tell you this, my daughter is a diehard Chicks fan. And to hear the reaction when they came out. And I'll tell you this, I watched the video, the intro that they do, and that was a pretty cool way to come out on stage. They had a bunch of stuff up there on stage, a bunch of the women of music, little clips here and there, like Joan Jett and stuff like that. And then they came on the stage and it looks like they put on a real good show, and she had a great time. But I'm trying to convince her, and I know she's listening right now, trying to convince her because there isn't one out there. She should do a Dixie Chick or a Chick podcast, and I would help her with it. But there's not one out there. So she knows a lot.
I'll do a top 10 list. I like the Dixie Chicks. I
like them. I do. We were watching a little bit of the videos of them a few minutes ago before we came on there. So I'm not a hater, but
I personally think maybe they shouldn't have said that, but the reaction they got was way overblown. Threaten their kids. Come on.
Yeah. If you've ever watched, and me and my daughter, I didn't make it all the way through because it was kind of late.
Don't listen to them, but don't threaten their kids.
Yeah, exactly. If you ever want to see something about and get the full effect of what they went through, and I'm not painting them as victims here, but watch the documentary they did called "Shut Up and Dance." They went through some crap. You just like you talked about death threats. and that's carrying it too far. I
Mhm.
mean, there, like we said before, we're not going to get political on here, but there's far left and there's far right, and
Well, you see it
you
too
take it too
because
far.
you have those people too that on both sides that act out on that stuff. I mean, you have people that are left, you have people that are right that act out on that stuff. All it takes is a word from one key person, and that stuff happens, and it's
Yep.
nobody deserves that.
Whether she should have said it or not, that's I don't think so either. But
Well, all I can say
you don't
is
carry it to that point where
there's a lot of bands and a lot of politicians that have said worse, and they
Oh,
didn't
yeah,
get half the crap
definitely.
that they did.
definitely.
It's misogynistic. It's a woman thing, I think.
Yeah, but they've made a comeback and seem to be doing pretty well. So had to throw that in there.
What did you do, Stevie? You don't like New Kids on the Block, and you don't like women concerts, man? Come on, dude.
What? I would have went. I
Oh,
wasn't
you
asked.
weren't invited?
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
you
just
weren't.
no.
Ow!
No,
I'm sorry,
no.
brother. Oh, I'm
Listen to
kidding.
it. This was my wife and her sister were big time Dixie Chicks fans from the time they came out.
Yeah.
So when they started talking about going to concert, it was only natural that my wife and her sister and my daughter went. So that was a girl's thing.
I'm razzing you, brother.
I know what you mean. But I would have went. I would have enjoyed myself. So some other news that came out in the last couple of weeks. Pantera are they calling it a reunion or a tribute tour?
I don't know. They're going to get crucified no matter what they do. You got people who want it.
Here's
You got
the
people that
thing.
don't want it.
Everybody, if you don't know who Pantera is,
Where have you been? If you don't know who Pantera is,
rock group.
why are you listening to this podcast?
90s. And they lost two brothers, Dimebag Darrell, who was killed in that tragic shooting on stage, and then Vinnie Paul, who passed away about 4 or 5 years ago, maybe longer than that. So Dimebag was the guitar player, and Vinnie Paul was the drummer. And they were pretty much, I think Vinnie Paul was pretty much the leader of Pantera. But now, yeah, I think he was. I think he was definitely the most outspoken of them. It wasn't
Vinny?
Anselmo.
You say Vinny or Dimebag?
Vinny. I think
Vinny. He may have been the leader, but I think they were more known for Dimebag. Dimebag was their most famous member.
Yeah, definitely that. But because Dimebag had the connection to Kiss, and he was so much of a big Kiss fan, and then Eddie Van Halen. But I wasn't a big Pantera fan. I'm not. I mean, I like some of their songs. But I wasn't one of those diehard Pantera fans. So I don't know a lot about it.
I was.
What is the guy's name? Rex Brown.
Yep.
And Philip Anselmo, Anselmo got kicked out, right? Before.
Well, no, they broke up because
they broke up.
They started Damage Plan. That's when they got killed. The brothers were still playing a new band called Damage Plan. Okay. They weren't in Pantera.
Yeah. So.
And Phil, there was some bad blood between them. I guess Phil said some stuff, and so it's like you have people that are going to take the sides. It's kind of like the Ace and Peter, Gene Paul stuff. Well, that shouldn't be happening. Kiss should have quit 20 years ago. And you're going to have people that I like to go see it. I love Zakk Wylde, and it's like the guy from Anthrax. It's not the same. It's not Pantera. If they're calling it Pantera, it should be like a tribute to Pantera, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. But I am a huge Zakk Wylde fan. I've been a Zakk Wylde fan since he debuted with Ozzy, and then through Black Label Society, and
Riding Glory.
Yeah, and I'm just a big Zakk Wylde fan. So when I saw that, I was like, that's a perfect fit. And then you got Charlie Benante, who from the longtime drummer from Anthrax, and also Classic 78. He's the drummer for Classic 78 now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
From Anthrax?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Wow. Well, you interviewed him, right? So
I didn't interview him. I just interviewed one guy from Classic 78. But yeah,
I didn't know that.
Charlie is the drummer now. But yeah.
You're gonna have people that want it. You're gonna have people that don't want it.
You're
never gonna get to hear those songs again, really. Probably, unless you go see Phil or if Rex is playing.
Yeah,
So
here's
just do a celebration of life, you know? I mean, that's what I
here's the
think.
thing, you know, to you diehard Pantera fans, if you don't like it, don't go. Don't go. That's as simple as that. You don't have to. If you don't want to watch it, change the channel, turn it off, whatever. You know, that's the simple thing. Just like Kiss, we were talking about with Kiss. You know, over the years, it's been the whole Tommy and Eric thing and makeup. Which, you know, do I agree with putting them in the makeup? No, but you know, I didn't stop watching them. I didn't stop listening to them. But
That's what happens when you sell your makeup. It doesn't mean that much to you, so they get to do what they want to with it.
Exactly.
Oh no, wait, he's still leasing it to the band. That's right. Sorry.
Yeah. So don't watch it. If you don't like it, don't watch it. Don't make this big stink about it and protest. I'm gonna protest.
I saw Pantera probably 7 or 8 times in the 90s because they'd always play San Antonio. I love them. They're one of my favorite band. I mean, they're in my, well, not top 10, I guess, obviously, but I mean, they haven't been around, but if they come, I'll go. And I'm not, you know, I mean, what do people want? Holograms of the 2 guys that are gone?
Then they would talk about how corny that was.
I kind of think maybe I kind of see where the pushback is from because I mean, we don't know what Dimebag thinks because he's been gone for so long, but Vinnie Paul definitely didn't want anything to do with. I don't know if he was still talking to Rex, but he definitely wasn't talking to Phil.
No, they were, well, I don't know. And, you know, it's so.
Life is so short, though.
Exactly.
Man.
That's the thing. That's what I was trying to say. Life is so short that you can't sit here and hold a grudge like that for so long. And you look at where it's at. I mean, look at what happened. It's both Dimebag and Vinny are gone.
Yeah.
Who knows if they got? I know Dimebag probably didn't get things straight with Phil. Who knows about Vinny? I don't think he did. But anyway. Don't watch it. Don't go see it if you don't like it. But I think it's a good thing. I think they'll have a good show with those 2 guys filling in. And they're not trying to say that they're Pantera. You know, they made that clear. Look, we know we're not trying to go on tour and say Pantera reunion or whatever. They're saying we've got what we feel like are the best 2 to do a tribute to Pantera.
And honestly, Dimebag and Vinny could come back from the dead, and people would bitch about that. Wait a minute, you're a little gray there.
Hold on a second.
You're not into that witchcraft, are you?
Something's wrong with
there would be something. I mean, social media is great, but social media also sucks is because everybody has a freaking opinion. You got to hear it.
Keyboard warriors, buddy. Yep. Keyboard warriors. One more thing before we go to the main event. I have to take, and we do this a lot, but I know you got to listen to it, but man, what a great episode of Shout Out Loudcast last week with Quarantine on there. The only thing about it, I hate Jericho had the mic issues or the internet issues, I'll put it that way. But man, Tom and Zeus said every week it seems like they set the bar a little higher. They get better every week. And yeah, great. If you haven't listened to Quarantine, go out and check out. It was funny, though, listen to all these guys talking, all the members of the band talking. And then you hear that the drummer come on with that Southern accent. I was like, hell yeah, he's from the South. Yeah, boy.
Plays with Luke Bryan, right?
Yeah, he's a drummer for Luke Bryan because he said that is the bread and butter. That's what pays the bill.
Oh, I bet it does.
And he's on call with Luke. He said, I'm on call with him. So, yeah,
that's a band that I'd like to see tour. I know they're probably not going to be able to because everybody's so busy. But God, you talk about being able to see a tour. That would be a great tour.
Yep. Hold on a second. Maynard. What? Remind me, Robert. Robert's saying, don't forget to ask Warden about Maynard. I don't know who Maynard. I'm trying to figure out who Maynard is. We did talk about something. Robert, you're going to have to refresh my memory. I'm old.
Maynard.
I don't know if he's. And Mallory said, nothing beats a Dixie Chicks concert. So
I've seen them. They're great.
Tool. He's talking about Tool, I think.
The guy
Tool.
The guy that has his back to the audience. I saw them when they did that. I thought it was boring. Yeah, I saw Tool when he did that, when he was like singing back to the crowd. I'm like, Really, dude?
Maynard James Keenan. You know who that is?
I don't know. Is this some kind of Texas football trivia that I'm going to miss out on or something?
I don't know. Because it may be one of these. Hold on. Yeah, he's the singer for Tool.
Yeah, I mean, they were good, but I didn't get the whole back to the audience thing. I was like, really?
He tried to be Jim Morrison when Jim Morrison started.
Jim Morrison do that?
Yeah, when he first started, he wouldn't face the audience. You ever seen the Doors movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that part from it. When you said that, it just triggered that part of my brain where I keep that useless information at. It just triggered it. So let's get to the main event. We're not going to shout at the devil. We're going to go home sweet home and all this stuff. We're going to see how close these top 10 lists are.
I don't think they're going to be close.
I've got some honorable mentions that up here, and we'll talk about that when we get through. So Motley Crue, we'll talk about how we got into Motley Crue. And I can tell you right from the start, a cousin of mine, and this guy, he had this big vinyl collection, and I hadn't seen him in a while, but we went over to his house, and all of a sudden he shows this album up, and I'm like, what the heck is that? It's kind of scary with the pentagram and all that stuff, but he puts this album on, and you hear this god awful, like, it sounds like you're taking a trip to hell, and you hear this narrator talking about in the beginning, and then after that's over with, you hear that riff hit, and I was like, holy crap, what is this? And I was hooked. Shout at the devil. Hearing that the first time, it was what got me into it. It was what really got me into being a metal fan again, because I kind of, I was still a Kiss fan, but as far as metal went, I was not like, listening to a lot of that stuff. But when I heard that, I was like, okay, this is something I need to check out. Circus magazines were bought. The Hit Parader magazines were bought. A lot of trips to the record store. Some dealings with Columbia House. Yeah, it was pretty cool. And back then you could borrow cassettes from people, and I borrowed a lot of cassettes from people. But that's pretty much Motley Crue is pretty much what got me back into heavy metal. When I heard "Shout at the Devil" the first time. But let's hear what was your intro to Motley?
I first saw Motley. I didn't hear a lick of their music, but when I saw their look, I automatically looked like these guys are trying to be Kiss with the war paint and everything. And I remember being at summer camp, Christian summer camp, and this kid had, I think it was "Shout at the Devil," I don't know, but he had the Walkman on. So he let me check it out. And I think I was already kind of into Kiss then. I think I was more into like the pop music, like Madonna and all that stuff.
Yeah, I was in Prince.
Yeah, Prince. And I listened to it. I was like, man, that's not too bad. And then, of course, there was a girl involved telling me, oh, I like that Motley Crue song. That's kind of how I got into Kiss too.
Of course, you liked it then, didn't you?
And I was like, what song? And she goes, "Home Sweet Home." And I'm like, okay. So I went there, got the Columbia House thing, Theater of Pain, looking at these chicks going, man, that's Ric Flair singing with that hair. Because Vince was really glammed out then. And I bought Theater of Pain, and I liked it. I mean, I know everybody says that was my first Motley album, so I didn't get on the first two. I got Theater of Pain. So Theater of Pain is probably my second favorite Motley album, and I dug it. I dug, Keep Your Eye on the Money, I mean, I liked it. And I remember they had the video out called Uncensored at the time.
Yeah.
And it showed Vince Neil, of course, with all the girls in the hot tub and stuff.
Right in the
back. And you had Nikki Sixx on there,
yeah.
high as hell. I think I like this song. He started naming all these, no, it's this song. Oh, let's Keep Your Eye on the Money. He was like naming all these songs that were his favorite. I mean, and they were sitting there, and Vince Neil, they were talking about some kind of story. He goes, "Yeah, just because we're wearing high heels and lipstick, don't mean we can't kick your ass."
Your ass, yeah.
I was thinking, man, these guys are cool. Of course, it's been in Blockbuster days and stuff, and that pretty much Theater of Pain made me a Motley fan.
Yeah, I'll have to admit, I was in it on Shout the Devil, but I was eagerly awaiting Theater of Pain. And when it came out, I remember going to the record store buying the cassette, and it actually had the long cardboard. Some of them used to do that. Instead of having, you remember they had the aggravating plastic thing so you couldn't take it out of the store.
It was a little long box.
Yeah.
Long box.
Yeah. That one, it had pictures of the band up there. So, yeah. And the smell, and this was one of the first ones I remember that was actually, all of the other ones were white. The cassettes were white. This one was actually one of the first ones I saw that was clear. And it had like a smell to it. I was like, holy crap.
Electra always did that with that Metallica. Didn't Metallica want that on Electra?
Mm-hmm. I think so. I think that's right. I may be wrong with that, but I think that's right. But so Motley, Vince Neil, Tommy Lee, Mick Mars, Nikki Sixx, they go on to have just killer albums. And there's one underrated album that didn't involve Vince Neil, but people didn't give that one a chance. And I'll say it to this day. And if people, I'll call you a liar if you tell me I'm wrong. If that had another band's name on it besides Motley Crue, people would have loved that album.
No, not the time. It wasn't the time.
I'm just saying, no, people were the reason that album didn't do well is because they were like, this isn't Motley Crue.
No,
they're not singing stuff like Motley Crue sings about.
That music in '94 was just dead, dude.
Well, that was a killer album to me.
It was a killer album.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of see what you're saying, but
job.
I mean, I'm kind of seeing what you're saying, but man, they waited maybe 2 years. Yeah, 96, maybe. 97, it may have been a different story.
But they didn't get, and poor guy, they blame him for the whole downfall of Motley Crue.
Well, that's Nikki Sixx.
That's bullshit.
I agree. It's bull. Yeah.
Yeah. That every
Nikki
band,
Nikki Sixx will never admit that that's their best album they've ever done, and they'll never top it.
Every band was going through that at the time with the change from 80s metal to grunge. Every band that was popular then was going through that crap.
But look at Metallica. They didn't come out back to 96 with Load.
Yeah.
I mean, they were there. I mean, there weren't too many rock bands. Maybe Aerosmith with Get a Grip, maybe 93.
Aerosmith held on, yeah.
Yeah, but Kiss didn't. I mean, it's like I don't think anybody would have.
Kiss's big thing, the only thing that kept Kiss right during the 90s was the reunion tour. When that came along,
I'm talking like 94 when this came out.
Well, no, I mean
that was the height of grunge.
What did Kiss really do? Revenge in 91, and then after that, Kiss didn't do anything but the tribute album until
Unplugged.
Yeah, until Unplugged. That's what I'm saying. And right before the reunion tour.
That's what I'm saying, though. If Motley would have maybe waited a couple years for the grunge to die down, this may have been a bigger album. But I don't think anybody releasing that in 94 at that time would have done. But I mean, they didn't have.
Oh no!
And
there's a lot of great albums from those.
I think also
bands.
I think you're not taking into consideration to this is the female factor, because when girls I would back then when Vince was gone, they were done, and that was a lot. It was weird noise. What are you doing to me, Stevie? I mean, that was a lot of right there as a women. The girls went away.
Yeah.
And I don't think they got them back.
They all wanted to talk about
them back on a lot of stuff.
They all wanted to be depressed then and listen to I'm gonna kill myself and all this stuff. So yeah. And don't get me wrong, there was some good grunge albums, but majority of that was not my thing. I could listen to some of it, but that was not my thing. It was just too down.
I like it now, but I didn't like it then. I mean, a lot of it I can listen to now, but back then, like Nirvana was so overplayed and just, I mean, Nirvana was good, but I tell people that are younger than me, the Foo Fighters are better than Nirvana. They look at me like I just made a blasphemy.
Best thing Nirvana did was unplug in New York to me. That I enjoyed the heck out of that show. I could listen to it over and over again. He was great on that, where you could actually understand what he was saying.
I actually like Nevermind, but I just thought it was way overplayed.
Yeah, it has some fatigue to it, a little bit of fatigue. But anyway, let's get right into this. Warden, I'm going to let you lead off.
Okay.
Number 10.
Number 10's a deep track.
Uh-oh.
It's
Here we
off.
go.
It's off my favorite Motley album, Girls, Girls, Girls.
It's Nona.
No, yeah. The song is called 5 Years Dead.
5 years.
This is what I picture the Motley Crue lifestyle. This is what I picture Nikki Sixx, 5 Years Dead. I mean, it's about just living it up, drugging, and you just being dead. And it's like this to me, like I hear a lot of the Nikki Sixx stories, and I think there are a lot of them full of shit. Like, but this song, I think it's a testament to the time he was living. And I think this tells a lot. I kind of believe this more, that you're just kind of in a daze, and it's just, I don't know, deep track. Girls, 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 probably one of the deepest, but I mean, this song comes on, I love it. It's in my playlist. I always love this song.
Okay, I can go along with that. There was another, and I may be way off on this, but there was another song on that album too that kind of didn't get the attention that it should have. Dancing on Glass.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah,
that was kind of the
That's
toss up
pretty cool.
between these two, because I like them both the same.
Yeah, but you didn't have Nona on your list.
I'm out of my head without you.
I'm out of my head without you. We shouldn't pick on that. That was actually, I think was it about Nikki Sixx's grandma?
Yeah.
I think it was something like that. So we shouldn't pick on that song.
She's the only one that I think, like, his parents didn't really give a shit about.
No,
him.
she raised him.
Yeah.
I think his grandparents raised him. So my number 10, it's not a deep track. It's Don't Go Away Mad, Just Go Away. From Dr. Feelgood. It charted at number 19 on Billboard Hot 100, number 13 on the mainstream charts. The video was so freaking cool. It kind of was a predecessor of Things to Come, because it looks like, Vince is getting kicked out of the band or something. They're separate the whole time. So getting that whole, I remember on Behind the Music when they did the Motley Crue, that was one of the clips they used for when they were talking about the breakup, whether Vince said he was fired or the others say he quit. But Don't Go Away Mad is like, it's closest thing to pop Motley Crue that you can get. But that whole album, Dr. Feelgood, from top to bottom, to me, in my opinion, not a bad song on there. It's one of the close to perfect albums to me. But Don't Go Away Mad, Just Go Away. It's just like, got some great lines in there. What was one of the chorus? I mean, you just think about it. Don't go away mad, just go away. It's pretty much saying, screw you, get out of here. I don't care if you're mad or not. Go. I'm tired of you. So, but
this song reminds me of, I could kind of see music was changing, because you have two of the people with the biggest hair in the world, and that's Nikki Sixx and Tommy Lee, and they were cutting their hair. I mean, Tracy Guns did it first, but you could kind of see where music was going, because that was like, people were talking about, hey, why did they cut their hair? I mean, I don't think you laugh at it now, but that was a big thing back then. It's like because I remember people telling me, hey, is Kiss how can Eric Singer join Kiss? He doesn't have black hair.
He's blonde.
Yeah. I mean, hair was a big thing. And when you have two of the guys with two of the best hair in music cut their hair, it's like, what are they doing? Because you can kind of tell that, especially Tommy Lee, he started getting more skateboard, just more. I think Nikki Sixx was just along for the ride.
That was, if you really want to see it get bad, when the 94 album came out, that's when they really went to.
But in this video, that's when they started doing it.
Yeah, that's when they really went to the short hair deal. Because I remember watching when Hooligan's Holiday, the video for that. Oh, that was the lead single from the 94 album. And I was like, okay, and here comes Nikki Sixx and Tommy Lee walking down the street. I was like, who the hell are they? I don't even know who they're. And, they had a big deal with Metallica cut their hair for Load. What was it? Was it Jerry Cantrell when they performed. They had up there, friends don't let friends get bad haircuts.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
But Tracy Guns was first. He did it on Ballad of Jane. That was like late in the 80s.
Yeah, he sure did. Sure did. So Don't Go Away Mad, Just Go Away is my number 10. And Dr. Feelgood, like I said, the video was pretty cool. But it was Vince talking about a breakup, I guess, and then he ends up joining the band out of the blue. They're already playing, and all of a sudden he comes running in and starts singing along. Back when Vince didn't have trouble.
Yeah, that's when they had their private jet.
Yeah, bring Vince there. But anyway, number 9. What do you got?
Number 9 was that Beatles song number 9? Number 9. I think this video is kind of a look into the future of how Motley was headed. Too bad it didn't include Vince.
Oh,
Primal Scream is my number 9.
Primal Scream.
When I was on Decade of Decadence, I love this song. And I love the direction this was going in. And I was thinking, and I kind of thought about this song a lot when the 94 album came out. I think Motley could have pulled it off with Vince if they did more like this. But were they going heavier? You wouldn't have the songwriting you had because of Karabi. I think that's what makes the songs go good. But you always wonder how Motley would have sounded if they went more of this Primal Scream. I think they would have kept a lot of us. I know they would have kept me.
All right.
But a lot of people jumped off of the 94 album, but I didn't. But I just think this kind of proves that they could have done this with Vince, and they could have been, I don't know if they would have been successful, but I think that it would have been good. I think it would have been good if they would have wrote songs like this.
Yeah. Yeah. You remember, what was it? What was the 3 songs on Decade of Decadence that there were
Angela,
and then they did the cover of Anarchy.
I hate that song.
I can't stand that song. But then you remember the Ford Fairlane soundtrack, Rock and Roll Junkie.
That's one of my notable mentions.
Yeah, that was a cool song. I did like that song. Number 9 for me, and this is coming off Shout at the Devil. The first of the apocalyptic world videos.
A post-nuclear world.
Post-nuclear war. Yeah, I remember that. Kiss Exposed. What was the deal with all these bands back in the early 80s doing this kind of I guess the threat of nuclear war that was trying to show you.
Didn't you watch Dan Rather back in the day? God, that would scare the crap out of me.
What's the frequency, Kenneth?
Well, no, it had all these things about the nuclear war, and
they did.
You had these specials, how to survive a nuclear war.
I was like 10 years old.
Yeah, it scared the crap out of me, dude.
Yeah, they had the whole talked about it every night, and then they did that. What was the name of that movie they had come on network TV?
Day After.
The Day After. Yeah. I was like, well, they're trying to scare the crap out of everybody about it for sure. But yeah, see, I even scared my dog about it. She won't shut up.
It's her past life. She was alive back then. It's like
she's trying to impersonate Vince right now, but
she's doing a better job than he is.
Looks to Kill, written by Nikki Sixx, 10 weeks on the Billboard Hot 100 chart, peaked at number 54, and then number 12 on the Main Street Rock tracks. This was, like I said, Shout the Devil started it all for me. The song Shout the Devil started, but when I get in there and hear that Mick Mars starting that freaking Looks at Kill. And so much of these songs that I picked, you'll hear me talk about Mick Mars. He is the
most underrated
unsung hero of Motley Crue.
Oh yeah.
Theater of Pain. There's a lot of those songs up there that he kicks ass in.
Oh yeah.
And you're going to hear me talk about it a lot. Looks to Kill. The video, you just look at it now and it's kind of silly. They throw the pentagram at the girl. She disappears. They catch the warrior queen, and then she disappears and just leaves a flaming pentagram there on the ground.
Oh, what's the one where the pentagram? They're like raising their hands, and then
yes.
That is typical. I tell you, man, that stuff riled my school and churches up.
Oh
And
yeah.
I think a lot that I liked Motley because it was forbidden to like.
Well,
I mean, and Kiss was one thing, but they were older. Motley was my age, and these guys weren't much older than me, and they were like, I mean, maybe what 5-10 years? Well, I guess
Yeah.
10 years, but it's like, yeah, Motley was, yeah, that was when the pentagrams and stuff, and just some of the rock documents, and we got to do a thing one time on those rock docs and how I grew up and it kind of made me a metal fan, but I would read stuff about Motley and I was like, and it was like, God, these guys they're kick ass. I mean, they're just the pentagram. I mean, just a little bit of Satanism. It wasn't Satanism, by the way. It was just, it was selling an album, but it just, I mean, but it had the parents up in arms, man. It was great. I loved it.
Yeah, and then you had and I'll go ahead and talk about this because this didn't make my top 10, but Too Young to Fall in Love was another one where they went to save the girl. Well, she was a geisha. And the funny part, I think it was near the end or at the end, Tommy Lee walks through the Chinese kitchen and the guy's
eating. Yeah.
He takes his food away from, beats him up, takes food away, and then spits it out. And then, that was pretty funny. But they had a sense of humor with it. But yeah, Kiss and Motley Crue with the post-nuclear war setting.
Scorpions.
Yeah. Scorpions did it too. Yeah, it was a lot. Anyway, Look to Kill, my number 9.
That's an honorable mention for mine. I love that song. I think it's hard to kind of, being a fan of our age, Motley never really had a greatest hits LP until Decade of Decadence.
Yeah.
And you talk about a great collection. I thought it was great. I loved I didn't care for the theater. I didn't care for Home Sweet Home remake.
No,
I don't think you should turn, but
they should.
Man, it had some, and I didn't care for the Sex Pistols. I'm not a Sex Pistols person.
I didn't care for Angela either.
Yeah, Angela, that was a lot better than Sex Pistols in my opinion. But I would crank that up. I wore that out, man. I actually found the CD not too long ago because it's out of print.
Yeah,
and I actually burned it for somebody that wanted it so bad because it was like $350 for it on Amazon. And I'm like, and I have it on my computer, but the mixes they have on there, especially like on a couple of them, a song from mine, it's better than the original.
Yeah.
And
they
have
Sweet Home, do they?
Yeah, I agree. My number 8, we talked about it already. Still think it's a great song. Should have been huge. Hooligan's Holiday. When I heard this song,
Lord. Yes.
When I heard this song, and I was like, oh my God. And then that thing in that, I mean, that was like, dude, that's close to Metallica. That's, this is, and I didn't think this album was that much of a difference than what Motley Crue was, especially if you look at Primal Scream and stuff. This was the next step. But I don't think the songs would have been as good because, like I said, Karabi writes more than Vince did. But I love that song. And I know they were trying to do the Skinny Puppy mix and the different mixes and all that stuff because they were trying to be alternative and stuff like that. But
stop trying to be.
I love this song. Yeah. I think it was a great single. And it's a crime this album wasn't bigger. I mean, this song, but people and the girls didn't want to listen to it because it wasn't Vince. And I mean, I don't know. I saw the Crew for the first time on this tour. They went from playing arenas like where the Spurs played to playing like amphitheaters. I mean, to like, yeah. No, it wasn't. But I tell you what, it was a badass show though.
Well, I'll tell you this about, that's not on my list, but that's one of my honorable mentions. The intro, and then when they do the breakdown after the intro with the drums and with Sarabi.
Yeah.
Oh man, 2 Bad Apples. Oh man, it's just awesome. That Tommy Lee's drums on that after he says 2 bad apples, and all of a sudden you hear, I mean, it's killer. If you don't like that, if you're a fan of metal music, you don't like that, something's wrong with you.
I like you said about Dr. Feelgood, I don't think there's a bad song on this, on 94. They had a thing where you had to order back then before they had downloads to where you get Quarantary, I guess. It's like Quaternary. I got it. I got the CD and everything. I love those songs. I mean, I thought it was cool because, they're ragging on John Corabi. Hey, new guy, Well, Tommy Lee's here start talking about wearing a shirt and then he does that Beatles-like song, which is great. Mick Mars's song is great. I mean, that I bought that. I love that. I thought it was nobody. I had maybe one friend that liked Motley Crue. Even my buddy that was like, he didn't like it because like he was a diehard Vince fan.
Oh yeah.
And of course, I went back when Vince came back because they were one of the bands
I think
liked,
everybody when they did the Generation Swine and they premiered that night was on American Music Awards. They did Shout at the Devil '97. Everybody was like up and on, like Motley Crue's back, and then kind of died down. Generation Swine was not one of my favorites.
I'm not a big fan of the original. I know this is blasphemy. Original Shout the Devil.
Yeah, it is.
But I like the '97 redone. I like that version. Like if I'm making a playlist, that's the version I'll have on my playlist.
I'm getting ready to mute your mic right now. Anyway, I won't agree with that one more. And I love the original was better. I mean, but
I don't know. I think it's kind of goes back to that whole thing of people, oh my God, Shout the Devil. And people just freaked out about it. And I was like, it's a stupid freaking song. It makes no sense.
Well, Shout the Devil, and we'll get into
the blood between your thigh. I mean, I mean, come on. I get what they were trying to do, but I know it's a classic. It's just, I always thought it was kind of like, I like other stuff better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. My number 8, another Dr. Feelgood, Same Old Situation. This song grew on me because when I first, come across that, and it used to be, I used to listen to the album the whole way through. It was no problem, and I still do. But this was not one of my favorites at the time. But the more I listened to it, like I said, Mick Mars solo, freaking awesome. And then when you watch the video, the concert that was filmed at the Alpine Valley Music Theater, July 7th, 1990. But they dedicated the video to their fans. But everybody knows what the song's about. I mean, his girlfriend is actually playing for the other team now, and she's got her a girlfriend, and he's he's just saying the same old situation, same old ball and chain. It doesn't matter if it's a girl or a boy, same old ball and chain, same old situation.
So are you trying to tell me that Motley was, about gay rights before like almost anybody?
Evidently,
right?
They were activists before we even knew about it. I mean, it was the album, Dr. Feelgood's 5th single, peaked at number 78 on the Billboard Hot 100, 34 on the Main Street Rock charts. And guess what? This is freaking obvious here. According to VH1 Classic All-Time Top 10, the song is about lesbianism. You think? I mean, really, VH1, y'all really reached out there. Y'all cracked the code.
When you think about it, Stevie, it's a full-fledged album because you got another song on this album called She Goes Down, and that's definitely not about lesbianism, is it?
No.
Okay, so hey, Motley's, and then at the end they do this great song called Time for Change, when you were saying was a bad song.
They're activists, man. But yeah, same old situation is just like I said, it's grown on me over the years. It probably
this is fun Motley Crue for me. Because this is them not taking themselves too seriously. This video will always remind me when I first saw it, like when they're getting off the plane and Tommy Lee's got his weird haircut and stuff. And because it was a day that it was the August 22nd, 1990. I remember that because that's the day right before, it was the second time I got to see Kiss. We were my buddies were at his house watching. Oh, we got it. You remember MTV exclusive world premiere?
Oh yeah.
And they played this and we were sitting there waiting for the Kiss concert. I was like, oh, man, that's pretty cool, man. I mean, and I missed Motley Crue. It's like, oh, we'll see them next tour. I did. Nobody else did. But I mean,
everybody else decided no.
Yeah, I like this song. I think it's cool. I think it's funny to see Paul Stanley doing or Vince Neil doing a Paul Stanley impression, holding the guitar but not playing it.
That was one of the only videos you see Vince.
Yeah, that was a fun bit. You could kind of see that they were having fun. I guess they were sober. I mean, according to when they did this is of course when Dr. Feelgood came out. That's right before the Moscow Music Peace Festival, and everybody else was drunk but them.
They had actually went to that famous doctor before Dr. Feelgood, and all 4 of them went and got clean and sober.
Yeah,
and Dr. Feelgood was pretty much, you look at the first little track off that album, which is not an actual song, but
Terror and Tinsel
Talent about Nikki Sixx. and Kickstart My Heart was about Nikki Sixx's problems. So yeah.
Yeah, it's safe to say that when this song came out, they were pretty much probably not. They may have been the biggest rock band in the world.
If they were,
Metallica hadn't come out yet, and it's funny how you can go from like that to like what they did 3 years later, 4 years later.
That's right. All right, number 7 for you.
Number 7 is a retread. It's "Don't Go Away Mad, Just Go Away." This song reminds me of summertime. It was the summer before my senior year, because I remember Dr. Feelgood came out. God, I think it was the September of my freshman year. So this album lasted a good 3 years, and up to when I graduated. And I think when this came out, "Don't Go Away Mad," it was in the summer of right before my senior year. I was working my first job, and I just like that part where Vince is like, they're looking out the window. Seasons may change, separate paths, separate ways, and little did he know. But I thought it was really cool, and I like the part where Tommy's playing with the dog. I mean, Tommy's playing with on the drums and stuff, and he's got those. I mean, love him or hate him, Tommy Lee's always had animals around and been a, PETA person or whatever. But I love this song. I mean, it's one of my favorites, and I remember one time my buddy had this stalker when he was my roommate, and this girl would not leave the house. So we put this song in a loop. She still didn't get the message. It's like, wow, y'all really like this song, huh?
Y'all do like the song. I'm not.
Yeah, we're trying to tell you something.
Yeah, listen carefully.
Mm-hmm.
Throw a shout out to my buddy Kevin Harrington, who's commented in here talking about same old situation. The crew takes me back to the good times, Stevie. We graduated together. And he said, sounded awesome in the old Camaro. We had a lot of good times, and man, he had a booming system in that thing, because you could hear him way down the road with that system. But yeah, Kevin, appreciate you listening and chiming in. So we've had a couple of two songs that are so far that have been repeats. So my number 7 is the title track of the 1987 album, Girls, Girls, Girls. I remember, this is how naive I was back then. You read, like I said, I read Hit Parade and Circus cover to cover just about every month. And they were going to do an album called Girls, Girls, Girls. And, being my mom was a diehard Elvis fan, I was like, you mean to tell me they're going to remake Girls, Girls, Girls? And I was like, that was just going to be weird. But it was far from Elvis Presley's version of Girls, Girls, Girls. Pretty much tribute to strip clubs across the United States. And they've mentioned them a lot. How many they mentioned? Let's see. The Tropicana, the Body Shop, Seventh Veil, all located on the Sunset Strip in Los Angeles. The Marble Arch, the Dollhouse, and the Crazy Horse in Paris, and Tattletales in Atlanta. So there's 7 or 8 strip clubs right there. The video was filmed on April 13th, 1987, with director Wayne Isham. Of course, it's got to be a strip club thing. The original cut of the video featured topless dancers and was purposely set by them to MTV before it was rejected and replaced with a more sanitized version. You think they weren't having a ball back then, but they were probably at their worst with the drugs. Girls, Girls, Girls. They said, I think they actually canceled part of the tour after that, because Doc McGee said, if I didn't, then some of them would have been coming home in body bags. But Girls, 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 with the whole start of it with the motorcycles and all that. At that time when it came out and I had the cassette, that was just like, oh man, this is so awesome.
I can remember seeing the video for Girls, Girls, Girls. Of course, if you buy the Decade of Decadence home video, they'll have the uncensored one,
Oh,
and having no internet, no internet back then. That's how we got our boobs. And but I remember talking about Naive, and I knew that he was talking about strip clubs, and strip clubs in the song and stuff. But I went to LA probably like the early 90s, like 92, 93. And I remember going on a tour, and we were going downtown LA, and I saw this big ass strip club. It said Tropicana. And I was thinking he was talking about the suntan lotion, Tropicana is where I lost my heart. I was like, oh, we drove by the Tropicana. That's what he's talking about. I always remember that. I mean, it's like, you hear all these words. You don't know what Tropicana is where I lost my heart. You remember the Tropicana commercials when you were a kid,
Oh, yeah.
But, Girls. I love it because I always thought, God, what kind of job is that? Do you get to sit around, go to strip clubs? You sit there, and I like that part where Tommy Lee's messing with that dude's head. He doesn't even realize it. And they get the freaking knife and they throw it down. Like, come on.
Yeah, they said at the video too, and I'm reading this right now. Let's see. They originally want to use a body shop, but since that venue is all nude and does not serve alcohol, they ended up shooting at the Seventh Veil. By the time they finished at the club, none of the band members were functioning properly. They left the club on their motorcycles to go to Iceland Studio nearby to film inserts, stopping off at a Mexican restaurant for shooters and taquitos on the way. Yeah, so they were. When you see them on those motorcycles, they're a little under the influence there, but
especially Tommy Lee sitting there with no handle. I don't know how anybody can with no hands.
I don't either.
I'm not that talented.
Crazy. But yeah. So number 7 for me, girls.
Number 6. This is one of my favorite songs, and this is probably the last song by Motley I ever liked.
Oh, wow.
I haven't really liked anything they've released since this song. That's me, though. It was on Red, White, and Crew. It was a new song. It's called If I Die Tomorrow. I thought this song was just so kick-ass when it came out. I saw them twice on this tour. And you talk about the best tour I've ever seen them on. I saw them here in San Antonio. We were on the floor. I saw them down in Corpus. This tour, the Red, White, and Crew, was the best tour that I've seen Motley, because they did like all their classics, all their thing. And this was a great new song. And I know it was a song by somebody else that I guess they bought from somebody else. Nicky changed it up a little bit and made it his own. But If I Die Tomorrow, I next to maybe The Show Must Go On by Queen, this is probably the song I'd probably play at my funeral. Because this is just a song about, like, if Motley ended when they did this song, it would have been perfect, because they were on the great tour and they were done. But it's hard to stay away. But,
yeah,
like I said, they've done like Streets of Los Angeles or whatever, and a few songs after it. I'm not a big fan of them. This is when I kind of started tuning them out, when this song.
Yeah,
I haven't really liked anything since.
I wasn't a big fan of that one, but it was okay. It was okay to me, but
well, you're just wrong, Stevie.
I know. I'm wrong. I'm terrible. Hold on, let me mute you again.
It's no shot at the devil. Sorry.
Yeah, it's no shot at the devil, dude. You can't talk about blood on the stage. So, number 6 for me.
Wow, that's it, huh? Nothing about it. Wow, not one of my favorites. Wow.
I'm not a big fan of that song. I don't know what to tell you about that, but I'm not a big fan of that song.
So do you think like Streets of Gangs of whatever that song?
No, see, I'm not a big fan of that either. I mean, you talk about you kind of tuned Motley out around that time. I kind of tuned Motley out. I mean, I gave it a shot. I gave it a chance with some of the stuff, and everybody talks about how brilliant Saints of Los Angeles was. I just doesn't feel, people want to talk about the 94 album doesn't feel like Motley Crue. Saints of Los Angeles didn't feel like Motley Crue to me. I mean,
well, honestly, this If I Die Tomorrow is not really Motley either. It's not their song, but I just like the version because it's the last time I ever heard Vince sing good.
Hey man, we'll talk about Abominable like that. My number 6 is also another girls, and it's Wild Side. Take her out on the wild side, and the video, you watch the video, and of course that's when that tour Tommy Lee was doing the crazy rotating drum solo and all that. And, they were pretty much living on the edge, like we said, during the Girls tour. But Wild Side, that was the lead-off song of the album. They're pretty much talking about their lives in Los Angeles, how crazy they were. And I think they kind of, to me, as good as Girls was, the album, it could have been a lot better. And they even say it themselves, they kind of threw that together. You had some good songs on there, but they threw a lot of that album together, and they were heavily under the influence. But they kind of flirt with, like you talk about Shout the Devil, they kind of flirt with taking off the Lord a little bit too, to get a perverse take on the Lord's Prayer. Our Father who ain't in heaven, be thy name on the wild side. Stuff like that. Nikki Sixx said in his book, The Heroin Diaries, he explained how the song came to be. He was casually seeing a Catholic schoolgirl and one day asked her to recite the Lord's Prayer. He thought it sounded cool, so he messed with it, and out came Wild Side. So the Lord's Prayer influenced Wild Side. It's just one of those kick-ass songs from Motley Crue. I mean, what can you say about it? But kicking ass on the Wild Side. That's what and Mick Mars. Like I said, I told you that was going to be a recurring theme on my top 10. Mick Mars. What can you say about the guy? The guy goes through so much, and everybody talks about, well, he just sits on stage like a statue. He can't freaking move half the time, but he's out there putting out killer freaking solos, killer riffs. The guy is the unsung MVP of Motley Crue, no doubt about it.
Oh, yeah. Wild Side, great song.
You sound like Bruce Kulick then. Hey, guys, Wild
Great
Side.
song.
Great song.
Well, Wild Side, I'm going to reserve talking about this till a little bit later.
Ooh, I got you. I got you.
Because I got a lot to say about it.
Okay. Go ahead.
Number 5. I Need More Cowbell. Livewire. The version that was on there, I know, and people think I'm crazy. The version that's on Decade of Decadence is the better version, in my opinion, because it's amped up. And another Mick Mars gem. I mean, Livewire is just that. I mean, it's just, kick ass from start to end.
Let me
so
ask
much
you
energy.
something.
Love this song.
Let me ask you something about Too Fast for Love, the album. Do you feel like the production on that, and the reason why I asked, because you said that, and I have at times when I listen to the album, the production on Too Fast for Love is kind of, when they amped it up, it that's what makes it sound so better. It's not as bad as the production on Hotter Than Hell by Kiss, but it still is not up to par from the other.
I like the later mixes. I like the later mixes they have of that, and I think Livewire is one of them.
Yeah, you're gonna
that in a Piece of Your Action. That's amped up pretty well.
I like Piece of Your Action. I like Merry Go Round. What was the other one? On With the Show.
What's funny about that is that I got into Motley around, Theater of Pain and stuff, but I really didn't discover a lot of the older stuff till I got Decade of Decadence, went back and listened to Livewire. I mean, I always heard it, and I heard Piece of Your Action, and all that stuff. And that's why I think Decade of Decadence was such a great collection.
The year Theater of Pain came out, that Christmas I got what was in it? I'm drawing a blank. I got the debut album, Too Fast for Love. I guess that's what it's called, right? I'm having a brain
crotch shot.
Yeah, I got that and started listening to it, and I was like, "Holy crap!" But you're gonna get a kick out of it. I think this is the first time this has ever happened with us. My number 5 is Livewire as well.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so. That was the debut single for Motley Crue. And and just, you know, I was a bigger fan of the later albums, but the more I listened to Too Fast for Love, it was like, okay, these guys are this is pretty good. And yeah, Fozzie's covered the song on their debut album. This was this the one? No, this wasn't the one, the video where Nikki sets his. Is that the one where Nikki sets his leg on fire?
Yeah. Because I saw that video. They were saying that they put alcohol on it. It's like, because alcohol doesn't burn, right? Right.
Yeah, right. In 2014, the Cadillac 3 covered the song with Nashville Outlaws, a tribute to Motley Crue. So I've actually got the Nashville Outlaws album on my list on my album challenge. I'm kind of curious to see how that's going to sound, but we'll see.
Wow, we tied number 5. That's impressive.
Tied for number 5. I think it's the first time that's ever happened.
Number 4. It's a deep track off Theater of Pain.
Hold on. Can I guess it?
Yeah.
Keep Your Eye on the Money?
No.
City Boy Blues?
No.
Jeez, never mind.
Fight for Your Rights. Fight for your rights.
Really? Number 4?
I love this song because I think this is the first Motley Crue song I ever heard.
Oh, okay. So
when I got Theater of Pain, and I just liked it because it had that Twisted Sister shout volume vocals that I like so at this time. And this song has just always stuck with me. I mean, it comes on, I just jam it. I just love this song. And like I said, it's a deep track, but I think it's probably the first Motley Crue song I ever heard besides Theater.
So it's kind of nostalgic for you.
Yeah, and I like it. Fight for. And there's actually a lawyer that has it on he has a commercial locally. And I heard it's been on, and I was like, is that Motley? And I could hear it, and it reminded me of this song.
I can hear that right. Come on down. Fight for your rights. Yeah.
It's just a kick-ass song. I just think, it's start to finish.
Is that right next to the Vince Neil where he gets his paycheck loan commercial on it too? Is that what they're wanting? Wow, this paycheck machine kicks ass. Yeah, but you don't
use it for vocal lessons.
Yeah, please. Kevin Harrington chiming in again, and he's already given away. It's girls, girls, girls for me. So that's Kevin's.
Good choice. A good song.
Of course, it would be for Kevin. But number 4 for me, we've already talked about it a little bit, is, and you know, this wasn't a single, believe it or not, but Shout at the Devil. And man, just hearing that riff the first time, dun, 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 Mick Mars, and you know, and then you hear Vince for the first time, and I can remember getting, and like a lot of people, when you get that album and you look at it, who's the blonde chick on there? Why is she not wearing a bra?
Why is she topless?
But yeah, Shout the Devil, and you know, looking at the lyrics, it's kind of at the end. It's kind of like, okay, you guys kind of overdid it at the end. Shout, 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 shout at the devil, shout, shout, shout. And then just at the end, shout, 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 shout. And this was actually supposed to be, what was the name of it originally supposed to be? Shout with the Devil. And they the guys at the record company or the manager decided to say, hey, you need to change that up a little bit. Because there was a lot of crap going on. If you look at some of the stuff that was going on, I think one of the managers went to Vince, or not Vince, but Nikki was dabbling in the occult. So we say, and something happened when one of the managers or something was there, and a knife moved across the room by itself.
What happened is that they said they were sitting around doing a bunch of cocaine, and a guitar pick went and stuck into the top of the ceiling. Okay, he just admitted he's been doing a bunch of cocaine, so there ain't probably been no guitar pick going no ceiling.
But there was a talk about a knife too. I want to say.
No.
Oh, come on! I watch the dirt. Watch the dirt.
I watch the dirt. That's just the thing to sell albums, bro. That's all.
Okay, I'm just saying.
You're talking to a former paranormal investigator. It ain't like Hollywood, bro. It don't happen. Oh my God, what was that? Just kidding.
Huh? Who?
What?
What? Anyway, shout
Yeah,
at
I
the
always
devil.
took
Not
that
the
like,
97 version, the original version. Shout at the devil. He's the wolf screaming lonely tonight. He's a blood stain on the stage.
This song is probably iconic because it's old, but that's all I got to say about it. Yeah, it's one of the first. It's cool, but cheesy song, not one of my favorites.
He's a knife in your back. He's rage. Well, he's a razor to the knife. A lonely Israelite. My head spinning round and round. Hey, listen to this though. Did you know these two lines were like tribute to Aerosmith? My head spinning round and round, but in the seasons of wither will stand and deliver. Be strong. Season of wither and round. They're taking.
Oh yeah, the Seasons of Wither. That's about love for the devil too. I mean, you think about
Yeah,
it.
so they're taking off on Aerosmith.
And that outfit that Nikki Sixx is wearing in Smoking in the Boys Room, that's straight Tyler out of the 70s. Straight jumpsuit out of the Tyler of the 70s.
Let me guess, you've got Smoking in the Boys Room on your list.
No, I never liked that song.
Oh,
I don't
come
like the
on.
original one either.
I didn't like the original one. I did like the remake, but anyway.
I don't like anything
Three.
that encourages sin, Stevie.
Whatever. And you what yeah. And you like Motley Crue music?
Oh, I didn't like Shout the Devil because it goes against my. No, it's kidding. I won't go there.
Dude, whatever.
Okay, where are we at? Number 3?
Number 3 for you.
Number 3 for me, probably the earliest Crue song that's on my list. I'm not really familiar with Shout the Devil and the first album. I think this is off the first album, but I love this song, Starry Eyes.
Yeah.
It's got a great drum, got a great killer guitar, just nothing bad about this song. Vince sounds great on this song. He sounds like he's all of 12, but I mean, he's not overdoing it. He's singing good and great song.
Starry Eyes.
That drum in the middle. I mean, I love that too.
Yeah.
Cowbell.
Well, we need more cowbell. I've got a fever. And the prescription is more cowbell.
Yeah, Starry Eyes, one of my number 3 for me. I just love this song.
Yeah, but I'm not. Story Eyes is not on my list. But
Well, you're then wrong, then, Stevie.
I know. Once again, I'm wrong. I'm going to mute myself right now.
Okay.
Anyway, Starry Eyes. Yeah, that's not. I don't know. Like I said, I mentioned my favorites off that album. Starry Eyes is okay with me, but it's just not one of my favorites off that album.
It's no Shout the Devil, I guess, huh?
It's no merry-go-round.
Well, they got a lot more. At least they're singing about Starry Eyes, not just shout.
When you think Starry Eyes, they don't say
Not
Starry
Paul
Eyes.
Stanley, brother.
Whoa,
It's about
Starry
Paul
Eyes.
Stanley.
Whoa.
And I guess that would be Star Eye, and not really Starry Eyes.
Yeah, they're thinking about Paul Stanley, right? And then before he did his Folgers commercial.
Dude.
Number 3 for me is self-titled of the epic album Dr. Feelgood. You thought I was going to say something else, didn't you? Released in 1989, the album's first single, Dr. Feelgood became Motley Crue's first American top 10 hit, peaking at number 6. Yeah, I'm thinking about you right then. You got Texas is so hot right now. On the Billboard Hot 100, is highest ranking single to this day. The single was certified gold by the RAA for more than 500,000 units shipped in the United States. So
it's higher than Home Sweet Home?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, unbelievable. But I was kind of in shock when I read that.
Are not the great Without You?
No, let's not go there.
Wow, I didn't know.
Yeah,
it's a great song.
Feel Good comes out, and I mean, you're talking about the big hype machine. This song was hyped up so much by MTV before the video came out.
It's a great song, dude.
Yes, I mean, it starts off with that great opening riff. The drum.
It proves everybody wrong that Nikki Sixx can't play bass because he kicks ass on this song.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Everybody's on point on this song right here.
Oh yeah.
And you listen to the lyrics. It's talking about a drug dealer starting out in the streets and then taking over and then going down. Pretty much a Scarface story. But yeah, just incredible. And then of course you've got the in the solo, you got Mick Mars up there. Come play with Dr. Feelgood. I mean, come on now. When they really finally give Mick Mars a chance to do
I waited so long because during Girls, I became, and my next song will talk about this. I became a Motley fan. They were like my biggest. I so waited. I had gotten Hot in the Shade, in '89, but when this was coming out in September, they kept pushing it back. I so waited for this, and when I heard Dr. Feelgood, and then I saw the video of them like in the desert in the tent, I was like, oh my God. Tommy Lee had his hair back. Vince had great looking hair. Nikki was cool. They were they were kicking ass. I can't believe this song didn't make my top 10. This is an honorable mention though. I love this song.
What? Dr. Feelgood did not make your top 10. And freaking Fight for Your Right did.
Yeah, Fight for My Right did. That's my blue. Yeah.
That's your blue.
That's my roots.
Anyway, but yeah,
sorry.
Kevin Harrington chimed in. He's giving some lyrics. He's the one that makes you feel all right. Yeah, Kevin, that was Dr. Feelgood. But yeah, you talk about they were at their peak with Dr. Feelgood. They had the look. They were healthy. They could play their ass off. I mean, I don't think they were ever better than what they were at Dr. Feelgood. But anyway,
maybe 94.
Oh, all right. Well, I'll say with Vince, that was their peak with Vince. I'll put it that way.
No way, dude. Generation Swine, dude. Come on.
Oh yeah, Brandon. That's your number one.
Is that worse than Torpedo Girl?
Oh God! You know what? I'll take Torpedo Girl any day over Brandon.
I thought, yeah.
Brandon, you're my son. Come on, dude. Really, Tommy Lee?
Hey, he was facing prison. He had to do a song to make the.
They should have thrown him in prison more for longer for doing that song. That was awful. God awful. Anyway, so number 3 for me is Dr. Feelgood, and you don't even have it on your list. Jeez.
Nope, I do not. I think it's Fatigue for me. It's just
okay.
I still like this song.
I can understand that, but
if I had to put a song, I would have put Kickstart My Heart above Dr. Feelgood, but that was my choice, but it didn't make my list either. Number 2.
What? Oh my gosh. Anyway, go on with number 2. This is going to be solid. This is going to talk about it before. Hold on. I'm going to go ahead. Hold on. I'm channeling your energy right now. Judging from what you've been picking here lately, number 2 for you is off the Dirt soundtrack, the remake of Madonna's Like a Virgin.
Still better than Shout the Devil original.
Good Lord, no.
Shout with the devil.
I might actually
let's hold hands and shout with the devil.
No, I might actually listen to Brandon over the Like a Virgin one.
I didn't even hear it. I don't listen to him anymore. That movie was the book was great. The movie was like,
the book was really good. The movie was okay.
Wild Side's my number 2, Stevie. This is a song that pretty much cemented me as Motley being my favorite band. And I have Kirk Cameron to thank for it, Mr. Evangelist.
Oh, yeah, from the Dudley
because
Moore
I
movie.
Remember, like, he's like preachy now and stuff. But he was in a movie with Dudley Moore back in the late 80s called like Father Like Son.
Yes.
And they jammed this song like throughout half the movie. And I got out of that movie and I go, I'm going to Target and I'm buying Girls, Girls, Girls. Because I had Theater Pain.
Mm-hmm.
But this is like 80. This is back when Girls, Girls, Girls goes out. This is like 80s. I heard Girls, Girls, Girls on there. But Wild Side, hearing that song, hearing that Our Father Who Ain't in Heaven, from somebody like me that's raised the way I was, here, I'll go, oh my God. But I had a harder time with A Baby Cries, A Cop Dies than I did with the God part, because I was like, oh wow. But I mean, that must be a really bad part. It's not Cop Killer like what Ice-T did. But I mean, that was pretty radical for the 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, in this song, I don't know if it's true, but they only played it during certain times. But there's another, but kind of talking about how cutting edge Motley was. There's another song on here. I don't know if it made it your top 10, but You're All I Need was a song that they played on the radio. And they acted like that was a damn ballad. I like, do you hear the words that they're saying? They wouldn't play Wild Side because he said, Our God who art in heaven.
But they would play a freaking
You're
song
All I Need about
a guy killing his girlfriend.
Yeah.
They wouldn't play. I remember they wouldn't play the video on MTV.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy. Yeah, it's.
And I remember my ex-girlfriend told me it's a shame they never played that video. I go, why?
Have you
Because
watched
Nikki
the
never looked
video?
so good. I'm like, oh, shut up.
And then you went out and got extensions so you could look like Nikki Sixx, right?
No, I was always Brian Weed. I was always a chubby guy that didn't look good, man. That's what my buddy. You're like Brian Weed. It's like I wish I still had his hair.
Jeez, you said something a while ago, and I cannot remember what I was going to tell you now. It's bad. It sucks getting old because it was something. It was something good. It was going to be good.
It came out of my mouth. It's probably something brilliant.
It was going to come out of my mouth. Though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. My number 2. Another Dr. Feelgood. Kickstart My Heart.
Good song. Good choice.
You know, from the start of it, when you hear the guitar playing, it sound like a race car changing gears,
ripping off Montrose.
Yeah. Put Montrose up against Motley Crue. See who comes out the winner.
I'm talking. You haven't heard that Montrose song? Get on your Bazemore. It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing, but still, Motley Crue did.
You don't have to rag on Montrose, brother. Send your emails to Stevie@onthefly.com.
I'm not ragging on Montrose. I'm just saying Motley Crue did it better.
Well, yeah, it was 30 years later. Of course, they did it better. They had stereo by the 90s, 80s, wherever this was at. 20 years. Who knows?
So this song is all about.
Okay, let's see who can sing it better live today, though. Ooh, he went
Good
there.
Good point there. All right, you know who I'm going to go with on that one. Pretty much all about Nikki Sixx's drug overdose. Talking about when he died and when paramedics arrived, they shot him with adrenaline as a last-ditch effort to save him. So the adrenaline kick-started his heart. So this is Nikki Sixx's "Shock Me" is what it is, except he didn't sing it.
Dude, don't even compare "Kickstart My Heart" to "Shock Me."
What do you say?
Put on your black leather. No way, dude. Dude, I love Kiss.
"Shock Me" is better than "Torpedo Girl."
Okay, that may be the case, but still, you know. But don't.
I just said that was Nikki's "Shock Me." I mean, it was a real life story about.
Did Nikki Sixx have to lay on his back to sing it too? Oh wait, no, that's another story.
Nikki doesn't sing.
Doesn't sing Brandon? No, that's Tommy.
Oh, shut up. No, Tommy doesn't sing Brandon either. Not very well. And Tommy Lee's probably out there right now going, "You motherfucker, I'm going to kick your ass when I see you." Yeah, come get me, Tommy.
Yeah, well, he's be in San Antonio next month, so be careful.
Well, I don't like Texas anyway, so, you know,
you never been here. How do you know you don't like it?
You told me a while ago that I didn't like Texas.
Well, you don't.
You must not like Texas because you don't.
You don't. You never always rag on my football teams. Now, I mean, Stone Cold wasn't in your top 10. I mean, come on, dude.
Well, we actually took a beating from Zeus on the top 10 ratings.
Oh, I know, because he likes Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan, Goldberg, The Rock.
Goldberg?
Goldberg? But
The Rock, yeah.
You know, we've got different tastes. He's from.
Wait till you hear my top 10 wrestling. I don't know if I can come up with 10 wrestling tag teams, man. I really don't.
Oh, yeah, you can. It'll be easy.
I'm going to have to get like Mil Mascaras and Rey Mysterio, like that one time in New York. And
the Mulkeys.
Yeah.
The
Mulkeys
ran wild.
Hell yeah.
They beat the Conquistadors.
What was that real bad team that they tried to make the Road Warriors at Demolition?
Demolition actually got better as time, because when they first started, I was like, oh my God, it's just a really bad Road Warrior ripoff. And then
the guys weren't even in shape.
You know who
you had
one of them was. Yeah, Crusher Khrushchev.
The Masked Superstar was the other one.
Yeah.
And then Crush wasn't Crush one of them? Or
Crush that was when they went stupid and got 3 of them. And they were like, I mean, because they pulled the whole Killer Bees thing and put the mask on. Nobody knows that. Yeah, Kevin, we're getting off track. But anyway.
That's what I like about you, Stevie. You're just like me. You have ADD to the extreme. One little thing can make you go.
Anyway, we'll get back on it, Kevin. I promise you. So, what was I saying? Kickstart My Heart, my number 2. You know, the guitar riffs, like I said, Mick Mars is great. Vince sounds pretty good, and like I said, they were on point with the whole Dr. Feelgood album.
Yeah.
But the reason it probably didn't get number one is you just can't. I just can't go above what I got at number one. I can't put anything above what I got at number one right now. But we'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah, I think with me, if this and Dr. Feelgood is just fatigue, kind of with same old situation. I think I've heard those so many times that it's just my mind won't let me do it.
Same old situation. I can't say that's got fatigue with me because
That's for me.
Like I said, it grew on me over the years. So
Stevie, I think we may have the same number one.
It's probably a good chance.
Because I agreed with you. I agreed with you that I couldn't put anything above it.
It's for you, man.
No, it's Without You Without You, right? Off the
Whatever.
Isn't that your number one too?
Yeah.
Time for Change. That's what it is. Yeah, Time for Change.
It's Angela.
Brandon Part 2. My number one, Home Sweet Home, the original version.
It's gotta be.
Not the 91 version with the, and you can tell in the original version where Tommy Lee hits that is it a snare or whatever it's called, a cymbal?
Yeah.
I always wait for that. Yeah. Home Sweet Home, their best song, in my opinion.
Yes. I mean, the iconic power ballad. I mean, it started the power ballad. I mean, MTV, the countdown, the top 10 that they did with Dial MTV in the afternoon every day, they had to retire it because it was number one for so many weeks. They finally said, you can't vote for it anymore. Yeah, I don't know what else you could say besides great song, and the video makes it even better. I mean,
what do you think about that girl that's sitting there and she's there
What do you think
smiling in her top? What do you think her? Hey, Mom, is that you?
Is that
Hey,
you,
Grandma,
Mom?
is that
Is
you?
that you? Mom, what were you doing?
No, I was living. I mean, nowadays you'd probably get sued for that.
Yeah, can you imagine?
Because she was probably like what, 16?
Yeah, of course. And then Tommy Lee's like, but yeah, and then the end, near the end, where it's right before Vince starts back up singing, and Tommy and Mick's standing behind him playing, and Tommy's sitting there, and he's just not wanting to look at the camera, but he's looking at the camera from you see him looking. But yeah, great video, great song. I can't, and I'll probably give away if we ever do a top 10 power ballad thing. Home Sweet Home is just the power ballad. It's where all power ballads start.
I agree with you. You've been right twice in your life, Stevie, on this podcast, and that was number 5 and number 1 this week.
Yeah. Well, you've been wrong on number 4.
That's a good song, brother.
You're right. Okay, so I'm assuming this is Chris Odom again. I think it's a Facebook user. Like I said, for some StreamYard won't post it up your Facebook name up there unless you agree to that. But Home Sweet Home was at a local high school, Northampton East, class song 1 year, according to Mike Green, who graduated from there. That, I mean, as far as a class song, what do you think, Ward?
Hey, it means different things to different people. Why not?
I'm on my way, Home Sweet Home.
I'm not gonna rag on somebody's song, Stevie. That's not for me to be judged.
I'm not ragging on the song. I'm just saying.
Because if I wanted to be a lawyer, I would have fight for your right, dude.
Let me mute you again. Am I gonna have to mute you again? Anyway, what I'm saying, listen to me now. In your opinion, would that be a good choice for a class song?
Yeah.
I'm literally
Why wouldn't it be?
Lyrics in my head right now. I'm
on my way, Home Sweet Home.
Had to run away high. You ran away high.
Hearts of gold. Yeah.
You wouldn't come home low.
Yeah. You're not the
When
same person
things
you
went
were when
right.
you
Doesn't
left.
mean they were always wrong.
Man, dude. Are we
Hey,
going to
it's
do a
not bad.
Grinch
That's not
episode
bad.
already?
It's not
man?
bad.
God.
It's not bad. It's not a bad choice for, but yeah.
Man.
That's
Dude, you're
what-
like one of the most positive people I know, bro. I mean, it's like you're starting to bring me down. I don't know if it's the Tylenol I'm on or what, bro, but
I'm gonna
hey,
mess with
man, if
head
you want to
right
go
now.
home sweet home, go home sweet home.
Home sweet home.
Hell, Fat Bottom Girls could be a good song for a freaking class song. If you got plenty of them in your class,
No, I don't think Fat Bottom Girls will work on that one. All right, so honorable mentions. Let's hear them.
Piece of Your Action, You're All I Need, Rodeo, which should have been a single, City Boy Blues, and Rock and Roll Junkie. That's mine.
I agree with the Rock and Roll Junkie. Smoking in the Boys' Room.
Yeah.
10 Seconds to Love.
Good song.
Yes. On with the show. And I'm gonna give the trilogy for the 94 album. There's actually 4 of them, but these 3 are my favorite from the 94 album. Hooligan's Holiday, Poison Apples, and Misunderstood. Smoke the Sky is another one that's really good, but those 3 are getting some negative feedback from Kevin Harris. Nah, smoking in the press box. Okay. We're going back to high school days anyway. But I never took part in that. That was all Kevin.
We did Inhale or what?
No, I can tell you the honest to God truth to this day, and God's my witness, I've never smoked a cigarette in my life. Never.
I never have either. I smoked several. I think my song that I like the most off off of 94 is Till Death Do Us Part. It's Me, Myself, and I, Till Death Do Us Part. I like that one because just about you kind of have yourself, and that's pretty much,
We'll do a
me,
poll.
myself, Till Death Do Us Part.
We'll do a
Getting
poll.
pretty deep, man. It's like a well.
I'm gonna do a poll on Twitter and get people to pick between Fight for Your Right, If I Die Tomorrow, and Till.
Wow, you don't like that song either? Till Death Do Us Part?
It's not one of my favorites. I told you what my favorite.
Yeah, but I don't sit there and rag on freaking songs that they've played into the ground on the radio. I mean, you have
Torpedo
yours,
Girl.
but man, I can have mine too, man.
I'm
These
just
aren't
messing with you.
Torpedo Girl.
Don't get offended.
fixes. No, man, I'm offended, man, because
I'm not offended.
Home Sweet Home could be my song, man.
Well, you know what?
I want it to be.
You know what I was thinking about before I made the comment about Kickstart My Heart? I was going to say it's kind of fatigue. It would have been my number one, but it's so fatigue. But Home Sweet Home should be fatigue for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I stopped myself from saying that. But yeah. So
Yeah, music is subjective. So what be on your
yeah,
list?
and
I mean,
we mess with each other back and
Oh,
forth.
yeah.
But I'll tell you this.
Stevie knows he's wrong, so he'll accept it one day.
I know. Torpedo Girl is
When
like
he kicks me off, the podcast, it goes, "Don't go away mad, Jason.
Just go
mad."
away. Yeah. But yeah, it's all in what you like, and I'll joke around with Warden, but I will never criticize anybody for anything on their top 10 list except
Oh,
Torpedo
yeah, just
Girl.
joking.
But that does it for Motley Crue, for our top 10 Motley Crue. We had two identical picks, so we're getting a little bit better at this, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you're finally coming around. So,
I think it's you that was coming around.
Man Station Battleships next.
Oh my God! Next up, we're gonna preview the Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey soundtrack.
That's a good soundtrack.
It is a good soundtrack. I was hoping you'd say that but what made me think about that was the Winger song on that Battle
Stations.
Yep, that was that, and I'll be a Stewart, but that was a really good Winger song.
I like Winger. Ain't nothing wrong with Winger.
Nothing's wrong with Winger, no matter what Lars Ulrich says. Anyway, okay, so Saturday night.
Are we going live or not?
I don't know if we're going live on that one. We'll see. I'll ask Pinocchio what he wants to do. Maybe he can bring in some Australian people to new fans. We'll open a new fan base, but we'll see about that.
I got to get my top 10 list done for you. Put me to work this week with.
We got two top list. We actually, we need to talk about that because I'm representing Tame and Sorry. Frequent guest to the show, the lead singer for Tame and Sorry, Warren Meredith, and we will have not one but 2 members of Tame and Sorry next Wednesday night as we do another top 10 list. And you got to get to work, dude.
I got that one done. I got that one done for next week. It's just the one you sprang on me today for Saturday is what I got to work on.
Well, that's not that hard.
Maybe I'll put the Goldberg and Hulk Hogan in a tag team together to make other people happy.
Hold on. Why don't you put? Let me see. Who would be a good crappy tag team? Oh my gosh.
Paul
Lex
Roma
Luger.
and Arn Henderson.
Oh my God. Don't talk about Arn that way. Paul Roma and Paul Orndorff.
Hey,
Paul
don't be
Roma.
ragging on Mr. Wonderful.
Well, don't be ragging on Arn.
I didn't rag on Arn. I just said it was a crappy team.
Well, Pretty Wonderful wasn't that wonderful either. They did win the tag belt, but so did Roman and Arn. They won the tag belts too. But that was just because it was Arn.
I think I'm going to say this. I think our number one, me and yours, are going to be the same. That's all I'll say because we talked about it before, but we won't go there.
Yeah, probably. And a lot of people, I think Pinocchio is going to be a whole different list because he's in a whole different generation than we were. So
how old is he? Is he younger than us?
Yeah, he's way younger than us. He's one of the babies.
Great.
So it should be interesting. But we've been wanting to get Pinocchio on the show for a while, and he's really been wanting to get on here. So I'm excited to have him on. I got to meet him at
because he's actually a listener, which is great.
Yeah. I got to meet him at the Shout Out Loud Beer Social, and he's a very knowledgeable guy, knows his stuff, and loves wrestling.
That's why he's got his own theme song, brother.
Yeah, that's what I said that night at the beer social. I said my goal is to be like Pinocchio and to get my own theme song with Shout Out Loudcast. And Zeus said, "Oh hell no, we're not doing any more theme songs for anybody. It's already hard enough." So, yeah. All right, so that's what we got going on for next week, guys.
It'd be a good theme song for you, Family Tradition. Ask Stevie, why don't you drink?
You know what? I actually listened to on my album challenge this week, Tom Petty, and the title song from his album, Southern Accents. Yeah, that would be my theme song. That's what I think my theme song should be. But we also want to give our thanks out. If you're listening to this on the podcast, you will have already heard the new bumper we have from Tom and Zeus.
Yes, thank you very much, guys.
Shout Out Loudcast. They were nice enough to do that for us. Great guys, and got to thank too Matthew Bazemore as always for doing our beats and our music. And there's going to be we might have a new song mixed in with Matthew stuff from our good friend Joe Decker. He might be working on something for us. Joe's a great guitar player, and we might have a little something working right now. But thank you guys as always for tuning in, for Kevin Harrington, for Mallory, my daughter, and Robert Matthews, Chris Odom from the Swamp Talk podcast. Thank you guys for chiming in and listening, and everybody out there at Twitter. Kiss Dude. I know you would like the Twitter feed. We can't get the comments from Twitter up here, but we'll definitely look see who commented on that. But if you like what you hear, subscribe to us. Apple, Spotify, Pandora, Podchaser, Good Pods, Stitcher. What else? What else am I leaving out? Anywhere you listen to your podcast at. Subscribe. Give us a 5-star review. That helps. And man, please. I'll give credit. I have to tell LP Sterlino, another Shout Out Loudcaster. He gave us a 5-star review.
Nice.
Thank you so much. That means a lot to us. And anytime you guys got some free time, just a couple of minutes, it doesn't take long to do. Just give us a 5-star review.
Check is in the mail.
Yeah. Who knows what you might get from us? You might get a hard time, but we might send you a bill. But anyway, check us out on YouTube. Subscribe to us on YouTube. We got our own YouTube channel there, On the Fly. And also check out our Facebook pages. We've got the On the Fly Facebook group. We've got, what is it? All Things
Rock, Hard Rock, and Metal Facebook page.
That 80s page.
And that 80s page.
Check us out. We've actually picked up a lot on all 3 groups. We picked up a lot over the last couple of weeks. I think On the Fly's up to about 450 now. We want to get to 500. Anytime you share, anytime you can share our group with your friends, anytime you share on the fly or that 80s page and all things hard rock and metal. I wouldn't say rock, hard, and metal. But
All things rock,
make me
hard
right.
rock, and metal.
Baby.
Anyway,
Anyway,
like a glove, and it feels just right.
yeah. Anyway, as always, Warden, great time. Enjoying proving your playlist is wrong and mine is right.
Well, Stevie, it's been a pleasure. Glad you could see me again and enjoy my company.
Well, you'll be probably seeing way too much of me.
We're getting overtime this week, but
he
said
I got to pay you time and a half.
He would double my pay, which is, I'm not retiring yet.
That's what I say about my pay of for my football team. I said I told the guys one year, if you get me a win over this team, the incentive clause in my contract will double and maybe even triple my pay. And they were like, some of them were looking at me like, really? You get paid? I was like, no. Anyway, guys. All right, guys. That's going to do it for this week. Like I said, check us out on social media. Check us out on all the podcast platforms. And you guys have a great weekend. We will see you again next week on The Fly.
See ya.